Is this week, and I see a common theme that is the theme of the gospel being presented in different ways, in different angles, but all of them present the same core message. And that core message is that we are beloved by God, that He is for us, not against us, that He is sacrificed on our behalf so that we can know Him, that we can be close to Him, that we can be in relationship, and that this is a gift of love given before we had done anything to earn it, before we had done anything to deserve it. And I see this in all of these passages. And I think that these passages really paint an important picture, because so often today people tend to have a very sort of singular view of who God is. That is, some people see Him as a sort of cosmic judge out there banging his gavel, declaring us guilty, but for the love of the Son. Some people see Him as a sort of great Santa Claus, a kindly old man sitting in the clouds, wishing us well and planning how to care and be compassionate to us all. Some people see Him as a clockmaker, someone who's set the earth and put all these pieces together just so, and stuck the key in the back, wind it up, and let it go its own way. And He stands back, aloof and distant, watching to see what will unfold. Some people see Him as a warrior who will make right in vengeance against all those who have wronged them. Some people see Him as a father who just has such a great care and compassion for His children that He'll always bring them back in the end, even if He's disappointed or upset. We have all these different views of God, but the Bible kind of puts this all together and says God is all of those. Not just any single one of those, but He is all of those things. He is a righteous judge. We have done wrong, and the Psalm especially makes note of this point, that we have done wrong before Him. And that was indeed Peter's message in the book of Acts as well to those the Jewish community he was speaking to. He said, "You have done wrong. You have resisted God and crucified His Messiah, and you are acting in ignorance, but you still have stood against Him, stood opposed to Him." He is that righteous judge, but He is also the loving Father who doesn't want us to go astray, who wants us to be saved, who makes these extra efforts, who extends Himself to give compassion and mercy to us. He is a crafting mastermind who has perfectly created the world with all these intricate, unusual parts and these precise rules and mechanisms that make it all work together. But that doesn't mean He stands back and aloof from His creation. Having once made it, He continues to make and care for it. He is indeed this kind, loving figure who wants to see redemption, wants to see healing, wants to see those who are lost come back to Him, and wants to make everything right. He wants to give good to us. And He is also a warrior on our behalf who will make right the wrongs of our world. You see, He is all of these things, not just a single one of them. And the common thread that I see in these passages, as well as throughout the whole Bible, is this description of who God is, that He continually exceeds and defies our limitations. That throughout the Bible we want to kind of identify Him as the one thing that we need, but He is that and so much more. The book of Psalms is an example of this, that the book of Psalms often lays onto one attribute of God and really focuses on that. But there are so many Psalms that each focus on a different attribute or different part of God's character, a different action that God engages in. And you see that when you take the whole of it together, He is so much more than we need in any given moment. But yet He is that which we need in that moment. And it's this beautiful, strange, hard to comprehend split in which He is at once exactly what we need, and at the same time so much more than we can understand, so much more than what we even realize we need, so much more than we can comprehend. And He is both of those together. present and close and yet powerful and sovereign. He is loving and compassionate, yet also just and righteous and ready to avenge the wronged. He is caring and kind and giving, and yet he will not delay forever, and he has a fierce anger for those who resist and rebel and refuse and rebuke. And so you see that the message of all of this is that whatever you think about God, the ideas that you have about him are necessarily a construct from which he will always outgrow. That there is more to God than you understand. That whatever you are thinking about him is only at best partially true. And so we must be humble. That is my challenge to you, to think humbly about God, to recognize your limitations and to accept that what you see might be what you need, but what you see is not all there is. That there is more to God. And so when you are interacting with another person, recognize that you don't understand God fully. That what they are saying may have an element of truth to it, and that what you say may not completely represent who he is. So we must be humble in how we speak about him and how we relate and how we share. Because God is far bigger, far more powerful, and far grander than the tiny understanding that we have of him.